Hello, my name's Addie, and I want to welcome you to Riverwalk Church's online campus.
Hey everyone, welcome to Riverwalk Church's online campus. We couldn't be more excited to have you with us again. First, I just want to say that I hope you had an incredible Thanksgiving, a wonderful time with your family, and we're entering into the Christmas season, and I could not be more excited. And I've been waiting since Halloween to tell y'all these two sweet, magical words. Merry Christmas. Listen, the Christmas season is so exciting. It's something that I look forward to every year. And now that we've planted this church, you get to experience my Christmas cheer for the next month. So we're going to do a month of Christmas services, a month of Christmas sermons, and I'm excited to have you along with this journey. So I understand that around this time of the year, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's a wonderful, wonderful time of family, of being together, being thankful, but for some, this isn't the case. For some, the holidays bring up some past hurts and pains and shame of the past that doesn't allow them to truly get to celebrate and enjoy the holiday season. So over the next few weeks, what I want to do is kind of help us unpack a little bit of this history that we have around the holidays and see if Christ can bring healing and kind of restore us back to where we can look forward to spending time with family, celebrating the birth of Christ, enjoying the blessings of Christ together. And for me, growing up, I have had some amazing and magical Christmases. I remember one Christmas, I was younger, and my dad on Christmas Eve decided to load all of us up into the car and to go look at Christmas lights. And when we got back, we opened the front door and we looked at the Christmas tree, and all the presents were around the Christmas tree at this point, and they weren't prior to us leaving to go looking. So it was just one of those moments that helped me to buy into the magic of Christmas, right? And but as I got older, it got a little bit different. We're a family of strong wills and hard heads, and Christmases kind of brought forth some arguing, right? Some bickering, some fighting. And so there for a while, that was kind of the memories I had of Christmas being older in my teenage years. A lot of butting heads, and that magic was kind of lost into that. And some of you can relate to that, right? There's some pains that well up from our past. There's some relationships that have been broken from last Christmas to this Christmas. Or maybe you work retail and Christmas is kind of, the life is sucked out of you, it feels like, because you're having to work and help people, and it's hard, I get it. But this year, let's work on ourselves and bringing healing to us so that we can celebrate the love of Christ. We could celebrate the birth of Christ. We could celebrate the blessings of Christ this Christmas. And this week, we want to talk about being offended. How do we overcome being offended or being so easily offended? Listen, how many of you know someone who is easily offended? And they're probably offended just knowing that you're thinking about them right now for being easily offended. Now, you are offended by something on this the set today, maybe, right? There's something you're looking at on this set where we're recording, and it upsets you. You're offended by it. You're offended that I said Merry Christmas in November, right? You get offended. Now, through this sermon, we'll talk about some small offenses, and then we're going to move into the deep offenses that we have. Serious offenses of betrayal, heartache, lies, abuse. This Christmas, you will have a great Christmas dinner. You won't open gifts with a closed heart. You won't celebrate the birth of our Savior while hating someone close to you. You won't be enjoying God's grace this year while extending none to someone who hurt you. This Christmas is going to be different. Why? I want you to hear this. Because life is too short and my calling is too big to live offended. All right, you say that with me? Let's say that again. I want you to write it down. I want you to say it with me. Life is too short and my calling is too big to live offended. What is your calling? First and foremost, your calling is to love people. Your calling is to share the love of Christ with people around you. Your calling is to be a worshiper and a follower of Christ, right? So our life is too short and our calling is too big to live offended. Small people hold big grudges. Small people hold big grudges. Now, listen, let's go to Proverbs right quick. Proverbs 19:11 says, a person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. Listen, it is to their glory to overlook an offense. Overlooking offenses are not the same as pretending that it never happened. We understand and we acknowledge that people offend us. Things in life offend us, but it's our goal not to reach out and to grab that offense and hold on to it, but rather it's our goal to overlook it. This is a way of forgiving, right? We know and we feel what happened, but we choose to overlook it. I understand that someone may have cut me off in traffic, but I overlook it. I may understand that I was standing there holding this door open for someone and they didn't acknowledge me. They just walked right by, right? We choose to overlook those offenses. We choose to let it go. Overlooking and letting it go is a form of forgiveness. A forgiveness that doesn't have to be said, a forgiveness that doesn't have to be remembered, a forgiveness that doesn't keep score. It's, hey, I don't like what you've done, but I'm going to overlook it. I'm going to overlook it. Now, the word there, overlook, the words there for overlook literally means to pass over. I'm going to pass over this offense, and I'm not going to hold it against you. When someone has offended me, I try to raise my soul so high that the offense can't reach me. That's a quote by Rene Descartes. Can I say it again? When anyone has offended me, I will try to raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach me. I will raise my soul where your offense, maybe your cheap shot, right? Your mean words can't touch me. I'm going to build my soul up to a place. I'm going to raise myself up where this offense can't touch me. Because small people, right? Small people carry big grudges. All right, listen. I remember one time I had a pastor, he was preaching a message, and he says, you want to soar with the eagles and not be down in the chicken coop with the chickens, right? You want to fly high above and not be down on the ground with the chickens, right? Okay, why? Because life is too short and my calling is too big to live offended, right? Listen, we can't let something so small distract us from something so big. The words that someone says to us, the actions that someone has against us, we can't let that slow down the bigger picture of our life when we choose to hold that offense, when we choose to harbor that offense in us. It takes our vision away from the bigger picture, and it allows us to focus in on something so small, and it allows everything else around us to be neglected. So we can't harbor these offenses that we experience from a day in and day out. We have got to learn to pass over. We have got to learn to let it go. We've got to learn to get over it and forgive them. Forgive the people who have offended us and just let it go. Because it really doesn't matter, right? A lot of what we get offended by doesn't matter. Okay, listen. With God's help, I am getting over this, right? With God's help, I am getting over this. You fill in that this with whatever you need to. With God's help, I am getting over this. I am getting over being easily offended. Ephesians 4:2 says, always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Man, I like that. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Come on, because of your love. You're not holding those grudges. You're not holding those offenses. I am getting over being easily offended. Listen, this time it's them with me, right? This time it's them to me. Next time, it's probably going to be me to them, right? Right? This time they are offending me, but next time it may be me offended them. And how do I need to respond? How do I want them to respond when I'm not thinking clearly and I kind of say a smart remark or I kind of say the wrong thing? How do I want them to forgive me? How do I want them to overlook my shortcoming? How do I need them to pass over what I may have said in anger or despair or just being in a hurry, right? Right, because that happens to us, that we get in a hurry and we may say things that we don't mean. We may just not treat people the way they should be treated because our mind is racing and we're doing what we need to do. And we need to we need to give that back, right, to the people that do the same to us. Now, it's funny that we judge others by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our intentions. This is good. This is good, right? We judge other people by their actions, and we want people to judge us by our intentions. Right? Right? Man, this is good. This is good. Let this sink in a little bit. We like to say, yeah, I'm trying, right? I'm not perfect. Maybe you're saying, I've had a bad day. This is why I've done that. But we don't give that same extension out to the people who offend us. We want them to understand why we did it from us to them, but we don't always take the time, right? You hear me? We don't always take the time to extend that same grace and mercy of trying to judge their intentions and not their actions. If I want others to give me the benefit of the doubt, shouldn't I give the same to them? Shouldn't I be living in a way that I give the other people around me, my family, right, at the dinner table on Christmas? Shouldn't I be willing to give them that same benefit of the doubt when they offend me? Listen, other people offended us because maybe they were having a bad day, right? Maybe they were distracted. Maybe they just got some bad news. Maybe they were running late. These are all ways that we offend people unintentionally, but it happens. And this goes back to us passing over and having that, hey, you know what? Maybe they're having a bad day. They probably didn't mean what they said. You could go back several weeks in our sermon series, and I preached a message about porcupines and doing life together. And when we're in community together, it's easier us to forgive people around us because we know their intentions. We know their hearts. We know that they don't mean bad because we've gotten to the place where we've gotten to know them. Other people may offend us because maybe they're having a bad day, right? Maybe they might be distracted. Maybe they got bad news today. Maybe they're running late. Maybe them offending you and hurting your feelings had nothing to do with you, but really had more to do with what happened in their life. And we've got to find ways in ourselves to process through our insecurities and to understand that people aren't being mean to us. They just have stuff going on. So it's just they're not thinking about everything at the moment. And we have to learn to give them that benefit of the doubt. And this is where that comes in. It's about forgiving them, right? Looking over and forgiving them because of their shortcomings. Now listen, this may sting a little bit. Their bad response isn't about you at all. What? Their bad response may not be anything to do with you. I know, right? Sometimes we have this feeling that they cut us off and they did it on purpose. Sure, they'll probably never see us or never acknowledge us, or we'll never run into them after the incident. But for whatever reason, they cut you off because they wanted to be mean to you, right? Right? Listen, it rarely has anything to do with you. Maybe they just received bad news. Maybe, like I said, they just had something happen. Maybe they're running late and it has nothing to do with you. And the response they give you isn't because they hate you or they don't like you. The response is they have a lot going on and they're not thinking clearly. Now, when someone offends you, maybe what we do is slow down. Maybe we think a little bit. Maybe we show compassion and we maybe just wonder what's going on in their life that caused them to do that to me. Watch this. Maybe they need prayer. Maybe they need love. Maybe they need compassion. Maybe they just need someone to go, hey, listen, I'm not worried about what you said, but what's going on in your life right now? And how can I help you? Because listen, it's not all about you. It's not all about you. And their bad mood isn't about you. Their bad driving isn't about you. Their issues aren't about you, but instead of being offended, can we be compassionate? Instead of being offended, can we be compassionate? Many times, how many times do we build a case against someone who isn't even thinking about you? It's like bitterness. I always heard the saying that bitterness is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies, right? We get so upset at people and it festers in us. There's hate that harbors up in us and we can't get past the issue while the other person isn't thinking anything about you because their issue isn't with you. You just happen to be in the line of fire. So life is too short, and my calling is too big to be, say it, offended. My life is too short, and my calling is too big to live offended. I'm getting over being easily offended. You say it with me. I'm getting over being easily offended. Now listen, I'm getting over big offenses. And I've had fun. I've been sarcastic. We've joked. But I want to be gentle on this next little bit because some of you have gone through some major, significant hurts. And it's not easy. Some of you have gone through massive betrayals, abuse. You've been lied to. You've been cheated on. There's been issues in your life that has caused you to have large offenses living in your life. Colossians 3:13 says, make allowances for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Remember, the Lord forgave you, and you must forgive others. Wow. Before we go any further, what have you been forgiven of? What have you been forgiven of in your life, right? What has Christ looked into your heart, into your soul, and what has He forgiven you of? And now we can look at the people who have hurt us, lied to us, cheated on us, and we can look and go, I've been forgiven of much. So Lord, do a work in me that I can forgive those who have done much to me. Listen, I know you've been hurt. I know you've been abused. Or, you know, they've hurt or abused someone that you love, right? And this is the hard part of the gospel. Offering forgiveness to someone you don't want to forgive. Offering forgiveness to someone we don't want to forgive. It's the hardest part of the gospel. But listen, this is what's interesting. The Bible tells us, the Bible encourages us to pray and to love our enemies. Forgiveness isn't something that happens overnight. Forgiveness is something that is a process that has to be prayed through. That's the only way we can live the life that God has called us to live is by praying through it. God, this person, listen, y'all, let's be real. God, I hate this person. I hate what they've done to me. I hate what they've done to the people I love. But God, you have got to bring forgiveness in my heart that I could find a way to forgive them. It doesn't change the past. It changes the future. It may not change them, but it changes you. It may not get them out of bondage, but it gets you out of bondage. We got to pray for forgiveness. And I know I have been forgiven of a lot. And I know that I need to forgive a lot. Wherever anyone has offended me, I will raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach me. Listen, I want you to say this with me, okay? It won't hold me back anymore. It won't hold me back anymore. Say it one more time. It won't hold me back anymore. Why? Because life is too short and my calling is too big to live offended. We have to stop rehearsing the offense. Oh, this is good. This is good. We have to stop rehearsing the offense and start releasing the offense. Say it one more time. We have got to stop rehearsing the offense and we have got to start releasing the offense. Stop letting it go over in your mind. Stop playing it over in your mind, but start letting it go. Start letting it go. Come on, say this with me. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm getting over it. I'm over it. Listen, Joseph had an incredible story. Joseph had an incredible story. Joseph got this coat of many colors. He was loved by his father. And the brothers got jealous, and they thought it would be funny to throw him in a pit. And they had this idea to sell him off, and he got sold off into slavery into Egypt, and God elevated him to an incredible place in his life. And then Potiphar, the wife, accused him of some stuff, and he went into prison. He spent a number of years in prison. Then he was elevated to royalty in in Egypt, excuse me. And years later, fast forward, and there's a large famine in the land. And Joseph's brothers come from another country. They don't know what happened to Joseph. They think he's dead at this point. And they're going into this, and they run into this man. This man takes him into the house, and the man's talking to him and supplying for him, helping him out. And then later they find out that the brother is Joseph, even though these years of him being lied to and put in slavery and put in prison and being forgot about, lied about, gossiped about, right? Come on, somebody. And he went through all of this, and the brothers realized who Joseph was, and they were afraid, right? They were afraid that Joseph was going to kill him, that Joseph was going to have them put in prison because of revenge, right? But Joseph tells his brothers this wonderful line where he says, what the enemy has meant for evil, what you meant for evil, God used it for good. What used to hurt me made me stronger. What hurt me in the past changed me to be more like Christ. What weighed me down for years no longer holds me back. Come on, this has got to be the cry of your heart. What used to hurt me made me stronger. What hurt me in the past changed me to be more like Christ. What weighed me down for years no longer holds me. Why? I'm over it. I'm over it. Come on, say it with me. I'm over it. I'm over it. Why? Because life is too short. My calling is too big to live. Listen, we have to understand forgiveness. Forgiving doesn't excuse what they did. Forgiveness frees you. Man. Forgiveness doesn't excuse what they did. Listen, you finding forgiveness in your heart for someone doesn't excuse the pain they caused you. It doesn't excuse what they've done to you. It doesn't excuse what they did to people you love, but it frees you. You have got to be free of the pain of your past. You have got to be free from the offenses of your childhood. And come on, someone. Life is too short. Y'all are going to remember this today, right? Life is too short, and my calling is too big to live. Let me encourage you, we forgive in the same way we have been forgiven. Forgiveness doesn't change the past, it changes our future. When you can learn to forgive your offenses, you are going to walk in a new freedom, in a new liberty, in a new experience that you haven't felt in a long time. So let today be the day that it changes your future. Who hurt you? Who offended you? Is it time to get over it? My prayer for you is like Joseph. Despite everything you've gone through, despite the roller coaster of emotions, you're going to live a life free and prosperous. That you are going to forget the pain of your past. You're going to forgive the pain of your past. You're going to forgive the pain of your past, and you're going to live in a new freedom. And if that's you, I want to encourage you. We're going to pray for you, but I want you to reach out to us. I want you to reach out at riverwalkchurch.com. Send me a message. Let me know how we can pray with you, because your journey starts here. And today, that journey is a journey of forgiveness. Today, that journey is a journey of overcoming. overlooking, passing over, right? Soaring higher. And the journey starts now, and we're here to walk this journey with you. Lord, right now, God, there's people who have carried these large offenses for many years, God. It's weighed them down. It's caused them to be emotional at holidays. It's caused Christmas to be difficult. It's caused Thanksgivings to be difficult. So right now, God, healing, God. Right now, God, they feel the stirring of your spirit in their lives, God, that is breaking the yoke of a hardened heart. It's breaking, God, right now, the difficult, the deep parts of their heart, God, that they thought they could never get forgiveness from. God, they could never forgive, Lord. And today you're doing that work because you freely have forgiven us, and we need, God, to pray through forgiving others, God. So right now, God, lift that burden of hate. Lift that burden of pain today, God, that we can live free because our life is too short and our calling is too big to live offended. In Jesus' name, amen. Riverwalk Church family, I want to encourage you, next week is Communion Sunday. So go ahead and make some notes that when our online campus experience starts next week, you'll have some type of element of communion, juice, cracker, whatever you choose to do that with. And we want you to partake of communion with us, because even though you're not here with us in person, we are still a church family wherever you're watching this. And I just want to say thank you for being faithful and watching each and every week. And why don't you drop a comment down below where you're watching from. If you're listening on Spotify or some other podcast, why don't you send us a message? Let us know where you're enjoying this from. And we love y'all so much. See you next week.